Hey guys, what's up? I'm super excited to announce my first partnership, and that is with Onnit, the supplement company. That's ONNIT. They have all kinds of stuff. They have kettlebells. If you're into working out with kettlebells, just go check out the website. They're a supplement company, Human Optimization. I really like taking their Total Human package. It's got Alpha Brain. It's got New Mood for Night. It's got, what else does it have? Shroom Tech and just a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a 2-time packet, 2 times a day packet, right? You have a packet for the day, a packet for the morning. It's super easy. But they have all kinds of stuff. They have a joint health, and man, a great company, super holistic. So go check them out. Onnit, ONNIT. Up in the top right corner, type in the code name Eliot, ELIOT. Again, code name Eliot, and you will receive 10% off all of your orders on Onnit. ONNIT.com, codename Eliot, and there you go, 10%. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, a couple of updates on me and the podcast. So first of all, always go check out EliotMarshall.com for all things related to what I'm doing in the podcast. Most notably on that, some DBAB t-shirts. Don't be a bitch, don't be a bully. They should be out here soon. So I'll have a store up on the website here within, maybe now, maybe a week or so, depending on when you're listening to this. So go check out the store to get your DBAB t-shirt. Super simple design. Hope you like it. Grab one. Secondly, I have created a Patreon page, and Patreon is a really great way to support the podcast if you like it. A lot of great producers, podcasters use it. Sam Harris, Dan Carlin. It's real simple, man. If you like it, then go support. That's it's the most holistic way. You like it. You find this podcast helpful. Show some love if you could, please. I have some levels. $1 donation per month, $5 donation per month. That will come with some jiu-jitsu video. So if you're into jiu-jitsu, then there you go. And then the $10 a month come with some jiu-jitsu video and a little motivational stuff. So that would be great to check out that. Patreon.com/The Gospel of Fire. And lastly, I'll be competing again soon, December the 8th at the Onnit Invitational. So all of that money will go towards Justin Wren and his fight for the forgotten. So yeah, we're gonna everything we do is gonna go towards that. I'm doing a seminar hopefully at the Onnit Academy the day after on December the 9th in Austin, Texas. So that's what we've got coming up. Again, that all of that money will go towards Fight for the Forgotten and Justin Wren. Well, not him personally, but his Fight for the Forgotten. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoy the episode, and we'll talk to you later. Hey, guys, this is Eliot Marshall, former UFC fighter, and this is the Gospel of Fire, where we're going to go through the fire to learn the best way to live our life. All right, guys, here we are. Post-Thanksgiving episode of the Gospel of Fire, and I am here with Kenny Florian. What up, man?
What's going on, Eliot?
Thanks for joining me on this day after holiday.
Of course.
How was your holiday?
It was good. I ate way too much. I ate way too much food.
That's what we're supposed to do, right?
I guess.
Especially as old, fat, retired fighters.
This is true.
We miss too many Thanksgivings, right?
Actually, that is true.
God, sitting around a table watching everyone else eat while you have like some hard-boiled eggs.
Yep, it's hard life.
Yeah, but it's a good life too. It gave us this life.
It is.
It gave us
Absolutely.
this life,
This is true.
So, man, you've been in the game probably as long as anybody. Back in the day, you were probably one of the first Americans to travel to Brazil. Am I right? And like live there for a while. And
I was. It was kind of a unique opportunity. I think. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it was kind of a rare thing to be able to go to Brazil. And where I was from in Massachusetts, it was just rare to even find a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school. I just felt the calling to go there and train and learn from the best guys. And obviously Brazil was way ahead of us in terms of Brazilian jiu-jitsu knowledge and experience.
How long ago was that? What year was that?
That was probably the first time I went was in 99.
Okay. And what belt were you?
I was purple belt when I first went.
So you were a
in
purple belt in
99.
'99. All right, damn.
Yes.
I was just starting.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so people got to understand too. Like, it's not like it is now. Like now, like when you can learn jiu-jitsu anywhere, right? Like, I mean, there's so much of it here in the States. It's probably it's grown so much. The knowledge base is very high here, and even going to Brazil is kind of like a thing now. And when you went, because I know Amal went a little bit before you. Amal went in '96 for the first time, but like it wasn't a thing for Americans. Like there was no like I don't know. His stories are like you went there and you just sat on the bottom of the mount for a very long time, and like they showed you nothing, and then 6 months later they were like, here, look at this move.
It's kind of true, man. Obviously, I would imagine it would probably be hard for them to have a lot of foreigners coming to their country, to their school. And obviously, even now for a lot of people, you bust your ass trying to learn all these techniques and, suffering through training. And you don't just hand that stuff off to anybody, and especially just some person who's only going to be there for a few months or half a year or whatever it is.
And especially a gringo, right?
Yeah,
like, especially a gringo, which was a thing. It's,
Yeah, definitely. But it was a unique experience. There weren't a whole lot of foreigners or gringos around. You basically got beat up a lot, but you learned a lot in the process for sure.
Right, man. Yeah, for sure. And I have to say, of all the countries I visit, I love Brazil. I think it's my favorite country that I've gone to.
It's amazing, dude. Not only is it beautiful, but the people are really cool, and I love the food. I love the lifestyle. Especially being in Rio, being close to the beach. It was train, go to the beach, drink your coconut water, eat some food, hang out. The women were beautiful, so being there when you're single was amazing. And it's just a whole different world.
I just went to Argentina, and I was expecting this to explain the girls and not to be chauvinistic, but they're beautiful. Like they're beautiful. Even like the 70-year-old women are absolutely gorgeous in Brazil. Yeah. And like I went to Argentina, which is just like a neighboring country in South America, and I thought it was going to be the same. And like we're not trying to be dickheads here, but it's not the same. Like I have never seen a country of beautiful women like I've seen in Brazil.
Yeah. No, it's there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
Yes.
And like I said, even like the older ladies, right? Like there's something that happens that you're just like, man, that 70-year-old's beautiful. Out. Yeah, they're all doing it still.
Like 6 a.m. if you happen to be up from 6 a.m. to like 5 p.m. I mean, all ages, they're up working out. They're running on the beach. They're doing something. They're just very active.
Mm-hmm.
It was impressive.
Yeah, it is. So after your stint in Brazil, what did you do? You came back to America, right?
And I did. What? So I went. I think the first time I had gone to Brazil was for like a month, and yeah, just an amazing experience. And I just felt like it upped my game so much. When I came back to the United States, I felt like I was a completely different jiu-jitsu practitioner, just even on the mental side of things, having seen a higher level, and obviously coming back with some new stuff. I just felt like, wow, like I've been in the motherland. It's just I knew I had to go back there, and that's where I was going to get better.
Right. I mean, I have the same experience. I have 3 instances in my life of jiu-jitsu when I can like remember like after like the actual training session, I was better just because I touched another level. Like when Hajar beat me up, when Huron and Henner beat me up the first time, and then once when Lovato and Rodolfo were both in Colorado during the same week, and I like just alternated privates with them.
That's awesome.
And I was like, okay, like literally the next day I was better.
Yep.
It's nothing physical. It's just like, okay, I see what really good is.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, cool, man. And then, man. So, but you were educated, right? You have what did you get your degree in?
I majored in communications from Boston College.
Okay.
I just I had no idea that I would end up using that later on in life. But yeah, my goal was actually to go to law school, and that kind of was the plan. And ultimately, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu just kind of took hold, and finally, I made the leap to become a full-time martial artist. I was actually in Brazil on Pedro de Gavia Rock, climbing with some friends of the owner of On the Mat. Scotty Nelson was there at the time. It's a bunch of other guys with us. And I had fallen off a cliff. We were kind of off the path, and it was all wet, and there was moss, and there was kind of a slant on the mountain, and I had slid down the mountain. One of the guys went to reach for me, couldn't hold on, so now I was actually flipped, now going head first, like sliding down the mountain. I had fallen off the cliff, and I landed on a ledge, and somehow like didn't hit my head or anything. I actually kind of like slapped out and landed on this like rock on a ledge. And if I didn't land on that rock on a ledge, I would have fallen like hundreds of feet. It would have been really bad. So it was that experience. I came back to the United States, and I think probably later on that day after the accident, I was like, I'm quitting my job. Like that was my near-death experience. I just remember being real sad as I was falling. Like my whole life flashed before my eyes, and like during that fall, I was like, "Man, what am I doing?" I had this regular job. I was working at a translation agency in Boston, but I wasn't really following what I love to do. And I said, "Man, what a bummer of a life! Like I'm doing something that I'm not so excited about. I love martial arts, but I'm too much of a wimp to pursue it because everyone's telling me I can't make any money off of it. Like." That's it. Like I want to do what makes me happy, and I quit my job, and my life changed really because of Brazil.
Fuck yeah, man! I have this thing. I'll send you a T-shirt. You have to send me your address. I call it DBAB, and it's don't be a bitch and don't be a bully.
I like that. I love that.
It's both, right? And like the way, like I talk about it all the time, but a lot of time I talk about it all the time in the podcast because I talk to somebody new often. And like a bitch is someone like it's someone who just lets themselves let their life be run by fear, right? Mm-hmm. And that's unfortunately that's a lot of people, right? Because they're doing exactly what you just said. They're okay, like I don't really like this, but this is how I'm gonna like have a nice house and a nice car and and like take the vacations that I want. And like, man, fuck that. Quit being a bitch. Take the vacations you want. How about live the life you want?
100%.
How about live the life you want? Like stop being a bitch,
100%, dude.
And for me, I just wake up, I wake up, I meditate, I thank the universe, and then I just say, all right, Eliot, you got a DBAB all day, and just.
It's so true, dude.
Right? Like, man. And I think it's so hard for people to do what you did, right? Like just to be like, you know what? I have this safe thing. I'm going to go to law school, probably make a couple hundred G's a year to nothing, right? To nothing, telling your parents that you're gonna fight and do and what?
I want to be a martial artist.
Right?
Okay,
what?
Good luck with that. Yeah. Like especially back in the day when there was no like. Now people actually become a mixed martial arts fighter. They're like, wait a sec, like Conor McGregor's making some ridiculous money. Ronda Rousey made millions and millions of dollars. Like that was never even a possibility. The
organization that we wanted to fight in was broke, right? Like, fuck paying us, right?
Exactly.
Like they were broke. The IBJJF, people don't understand what the IBJJF used to look like. You just have to wait in a 5-hour line to weigh in, right?
It was bad.
Like that one in California, I think we were standing next to each other, the one up in Santa Barbara.
Yes.
Right? Like, and I got to the front of the line, like we just waited 5 hours to weigh in, right? And I got to the front of the line, and the reason we couldn't go any faster was because they didn't have any pens. Right? Like there was 15 scales in the back, but one pen for you to fill out the information. And there was a CVS across the fucking street.
Dude, you're not lying. That's the thing. It's so funny.
And you're trying to tell your educated parents when you have an education that this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had to tell my dad he sacrificed like 18 years of his life studying to be a doctor that I was going to go be a professional fighter in a cage.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, cool. That's great. You're welcome for that education, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. And where are you going to end up in my fucking basement?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to do karate in the garage?
Yeah.
That's your plan? Okay.
Uh-huh. right? Yeah, it's a tough conversation, right? Like
It was, dude. It's funny because that's the thing, and that's one thing I'm super passionate about and I love your idea about the T-shirt, but it's so true. Is like we are so afraid to really pursue what we want to do a lot of times because of all those people around us that are telling us we're crazy or we can't do a certain thing. And we know we have a certain intuition of what we're supposed to be doing. But whether you want to call it the bitch on your shoulder or, the doubt that creeps in your mind or, even loved ones that are telling you can't do it.
Who love you. They love you.
Who love you.
Your dad your parents wanted the best for you.
Right.
So and I get it, man. I have 2 little kids, right? Like if okay, so sure, if they want to tell me they fight in the UFC, I could actually see a path right now at least. But if there's something else that comes up in 5 years and they're like, I'm going to do that. And you're like, man, all I've been doing my whole life is protecting their whole lives is protecting these kids.
Yeah.
And now what?
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. It's like, now I look back, I mean, you mentioned the words, the path. And I think that's the scary thing. I'd imagine for my parents, like, what's the end game?
Yeah.
How are you paying bills? Like, what are you going to fight in the UFC? Cool. And make 20 G's a year? Like, how are you going to eat?
And then what happens to your face? And are you going to be healthy? All of the things that go through a parent's, my whole existence is to keep those 2 safe, get them to be good adults. And like that, that's all I do. This is all I do. And sure, I take some time for myself, but I mostly take time for myself so that I could be better for them, Yeah. And now you're it's just, I can't imagine because I had the same conversations with my parents, right? And I'm just I can't imagine their shoes now. Fuck you. Right? So, but it worked out.
It worked out, man. Thankfully it worked out. There are times where, obviously we always doubt ourselves, but I think you got to believe in your plan. And more importantly, I think that if you love what you do, obviously I didn't do it because I wanted money and, but I did do it because I loved it. And I think if you love something enough, you'll find a way to make it happen, you know what I mean, in your own way. And I think that's super important no matter what it is. Find what you love to do and work your ass off to get it.
Work your ass off to do it, right? It's one of those things. I kind of had to come to a decision for myself with with the money thing. I try not to do anything for money anymore. I try to find this different reason. Why am I doing this? And if I ever can't get past the money, that just means I shouldn't do it.
Yep.
But, I'm writing a book. And it's just kind of about this topic, come on, struggle and we can do this and yada, yada. And, and at first, I'm using this company because I can't write for shit. And I have no clue how to do it. And I'm using this company and dude, this company costs $30,000 to write this book.
Wow.
And I'm just oh shit, man. But then I figured out I was like, how am I going to see an ROI and yada, yada and blah, blah, blah. But it turned out when I had to switch my thinking, I had to be okay, what if I help somebody? What if one person in 10 years goes, Eliot, I read your book and that saved my life. Right. Piss on that $30,000 now, right? So that the whole find what you love and chase that shit to the end.
It's so true, dude. I mean, that's really what we're supposed to be doing at the end of the day. Things get very confusing in this crazy and chaotic world. But at the end of the day, if you're able to kind of shut off the noise around you and just listen to yourself, you're going to find what you're destined to do and what calls you. And if you chase that calling and you work hard, you'll see it. You'll see something. You'll see a huge benefit eventually. And it's just putting in that work behind the passion.
And let's make sure everyone understands, right? Your goal at one time was to be the UFC champ of the world, right?
For sure.
And it never happened, 100%. Right?
It did not.
It did not, right? And you are not a failure. You chased that dream to its fullest point, and you never saw success at what that one thing was, right? That championship. But, I mean, that's just part of it.
Absolutely. Right? That was my experience. That was my path to follow, and that was what was supposed to happen with me. So
So there you are, right? Like, and so people just look at this as like, I failed. Like that, like I think that we get so afraid of that, you know, like, but I'm not going to be the best. Well, yeah, you probably won't. That is true, you know, but
absolutely. And the path is always changing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. It's so important that like you only fail when you die or you stop or you quit, you know, like you're going to lose, we're going to do all of those things, right? Like, you know, we've been beat up in front of millions and millions of people. It's a terrible experience. It sucks, you know, but it's it's put you here and now, and that doesn't suck.
100%.
You know, so, you were on the first season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Yes.
I hated my experience on The Ultimate Fighter. I couldn't stand it. Like, other than like what I call my breakdown / spiritual awakening, a couple years ago, that was the worst 6 weeks of my life on The Ultimate Fighter. How did you feel about it?
You know, I think I was just so kind of excited for the experience that I was just kind of ready for whatever, and I think I had a good attitude going into it, just because I almost didn't know what I didn't know. You know, I was almost so ignorant to it that I was just like, okay, well, this is gonna and honestly, like, even on that first show, we had no idea. We knew we eventually would fight, but we didn't know we were going to fight on the show, you know, to advance. Honestly, we didn't really know that, but I assumed fighting was going to be a part of it. But I mean, there's so many things we just didn't know, and it seemed like even then production was kind of flying by the seat of their pants, and it kind of, we went along on that ride as well, kind of experimenting with them. We were kind of the guinea pigs, and we were in that house. I mean, I was in the house for 2 months. I got to the final, so I had to stay in the house the whole time. And there were times where, I wanted to go crazy. Absolutely. It was tough. And then it's tough just being in a house with a bunch of other dudes that are just like savages, you know?
You don't necessarily know or like.
Yeah,
like,
man.
These aren't roommates. These aren't like, the four of us are buddies. Let's go live together.
For sure. And a lot of them actually want to punch you in the face. So it's like, okay, well,
they do that on purpose.
Right.
Right? Like, they do that on purpose, so it's entertaining TV.
Yes, for sure. And it was interesting, man. It was a really interesting experience. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. It was a tough 2 months, but it was interesting, man. It was really interesting.
I used to say I would do it again for a guaranteed $5 million at the end, but nah, fuck that.
That's funny.
No way. No, once I changed that whole "don't do anything for money" thing, I was like, yeah, fuck that.
Yep.
Not doing that shit. Yep. That shit's fucking stupid. People don't understand what that's like. Like you're locked away. Like, you can't, like, when you're on The Ultimate Fighter, like, you are shut away. There's no grocery store. There's no phone. There's just you and a door and this phone that calls the producers, right?
Yeah,
like, and that's it.
That is it.
That is it. Like, you can't, like, not being able to go to the grocery store because you want a Pepsi is a weird thing.
It's jail, right? I mean, you're isolated to a certain area. You know, you can't go where you want to go. They take you. It's an interesting experience, man.
It's a super interesting experience. Like, you just don't, like, the humans not. I don't think humans. Is that your little guy?
Yeah, that's my little baby. Yeah, she's here.
Hi, what's your name? What's your name?
She's laughing along with the interview.
How old is she?
Yeah. She is 9 months.
9 months. All right. You first or no? Is that your first?
First one, man. First one.
Fuck yeah. You're almost out of the woods, bro. 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year is where there's, you know, some change in the game, you know?
For sure.
Oh, that's cool, man. Fuck yeah. So her first Thanksgiving.
Yes, her first Thanksgiving, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have what's her name?
True Emerson.
True. All right. Did you have some turkey? True.
she had a little of everything. She was super excited.
Good.
She's like a little savage, man. She sees food and she's like, "Get out of the way.
Nice.
Give it to me."
My oldest was like that, man. Fuck, he grew so fast, and like we couldn't figure out at first. We thought something was wrong with him because he would just eat all the time. Like, he stayed up eating one night like every 45 minutes. And he was like, 2 or 3 months old at this point. Yeah, man. And like, he would just start crying, like, and it was like the third night. So like, my wife, we both couldn't stay up anymore, you know? So I was like, babe, like, you're going to go, because my wife had a C-section. So there was no,
she had to recover.
She had to recover. And like, there was no, she couldn't like handle the baby by herself. Like, so like when you have, I don't know, was your wife natural or C-section?
She was natural. She was natural, but she told me the whole process because of how, you know, a C-section is no joke. People say it very casually, but there's a lot of trauma that goes on. I mean, no matter what, but a C-section it's really tough on the body. It's not a casual thing.
Right?
Yeah,
like they can't vacuum. What do you mean you can't vacuum it? Like that's pushing like 5 pounds of pressure. Like, what do you mean no?
Yeah.
So anyway, like there was no like her getting up and me sleeping at all because for the baby to eat, she couldn't sit up to pick the baby up. I had to do that.
Right.
You know? So finally I was just like, all right, look, you are going to get some sleep and I'm going to handle this one night. And holy fuck, like it was literally every 45 minutes. And then finally at like 5 a.m., I went upstairs and I was like, I can't do this, you know, because it was my third night now, right? I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need some sleep. We need to call the doctor and see what the fuck is wrong.
Right.
And he was just hungry. Like we had to like, my wife had like really chalky, like no nutrient based milk, you know? So we had to put him on formula earlier.
Right.
But fuck, parenthood.
Which is very common.
Yeah.
Very common. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. So there's so much. It's an interesting process being a mom and a dad, man.
Yeah. Right? Like it's super it just changes your perspective. Yes.
It's life changing.
It's like fighting. No, you can't explain it to anyone until they actually like say that they're going to go do it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Everyone that, you know, tried to explain it to me, and it's only something you can experience for yourself.
Yeah. For me, my second fight was worse than my first. Like my first fight, I guess it was kind of like how you explained The Ultimate Fighter. Like you didn't know what to expect at all. And then everyone after you watched the first episode, worst season, and like knew, okay, this is kind of how it was going to go.
Yep.
Right. So my first fight, like you don't know what that's going to feel like. So I was nervous and all, but you know, not terrible. But my second fight, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, God damn, I was really nervous last time. Like I have never been that nervous in my life. And I'm going to do that again? The fuck is the matter with me?
Right.
You know? So it'd be like doing The Ultimate Fighter a second time. You'd probably have like fucking panic attacks.
Yeah, it changes. And it's so funny because when you think about it, like when you really think about it, there's some things that can change, you know, with each fight, like the consequence. But we make so much of it in our head that we complicate it for ourselves, I think. And again, like a lot of things, we do get influenced by our environment of someone telling you, oh, this is the fight that's going to make or break you, or you need to have this one or whatever. It's like you're still just training for an event, you know? And I think I complicated that for myself a lot sometimes, or, you know, came to believe, oh, if I win this one, this leads to a belt. And if I win the belt, like pay-per-view money. And if I get pay-per-view money, now it's like, oh. But at the end of the day, you're still just training for that one event. But it's easy for the whole thing to kind of get away from you and to kind of skew your whole perspective. But it's still, you know, you're still doing what you love. You're still training. You're still getting ready for that fight. And, you know, the importance of someone hitting you or not hitting you is always going to be there, yes. But when you start adding in all these other things to it, like, oh, I can make this, or this is going to lead to this fight or whatever, it's not the right mindset, I think. And I made that mistake a lot.
I made that mistake too much. You know, I couldn't get out of my own way.
Yep.
And I didn't even know that I was in my way, right? Like, I mean, I was trying to like do all the mental preparation and all that stuff too, right? Like, but it's still my why wasn't lined up correctly. Like, why am I fighting for me? You know, like, and I knew I loved martial arts, right? Like that was a given.
Sure.
But my why was just it wasn't my belief and my actions weren't tied. You know, and I don't know that either one of them was wrong. I just didn't have them connected. And
sure,
you know, once I connected that in my life seemed to take a turn for sure, a little bit better as well.
Yep.
You know, which is a hard thing to do. It takes time. It takes like you can't. It doesn't just come to you like that. That's practice.
None of the good stuff does, I think. You know what I mean? All the stuff that's worth, really chasing, and the universe is going to make you work for it. You know what I mean? That's for sure.
And it should, right? Because that's
where the good stuff is, man. It's not going to be easy.
Like, you got to get into the blue flame of the fire.
100%.
You got to get really scarred and burned and forged, and then you get to figure out who you are and what you stand for. That's awesome. I was listening to something the other day. It was pretty good. Sometimes we do that. It was Matthew McConaughey on some, I don't know, Gold Coast or something. And he was like, sometimes you find that out by like a process of elimination. You find out what you aren't and what you don't stand for.
Yes.
Right? Like, rather than finding out what you do.
100%. And that's where, you got to start trying things and see what works for you, seeing what doesn't. And everyone's process is different. Everyone's story is different. Not everyone's is going to be the same, and I think there's a huge, misconception about people and talent. Like, I hate hearing the word, oh, that guy's super talented. And, I've used it myself, but like, I think sometimes we get it twisted. Like, man, yeah, sure. There's certain physical gifts that happen. There's certain mental gifts that happen. Absolutely. But it never makes a journey easy. And I think we love to talk about prodigies and this person just became this and that. But I think we don't talk about the work. We don't talk about the hard work enough. And I think especially for kids and people coming up, that always has to be at the forefront of whatever it is. Like, it's not just you're either good at something or you're not. It's how hard are you willing to work for what you believe in, period. Like, that's it. And you know what? Eliot Marshall's journey might be 6 months. Kenny Florian's journey might be 2 years. John Doe's journey might be freaking 10 years. But if you believe in it enough, you will find success. How long that path is, we can't tell you.
That's not promised, right?
Yeah, that's not promised.
There's no book on how to do that, like success,
Yep.
But there is one key element, and it's not talent. It's hard work. You hit it, man.
Absolutely, man.
It is hard work. It is not talent. Talent will help you, right? Talent will help you. Talent will kind of help you and maybe guide you towards the decisions or the things that you want to work hard at.
Sure.
But it's gonna end at a point. You're gonna hit this point where all your talent in the world, it's gonna be like, okay, great, now what?
Yeah.
Now how much are you willing to go down to the pits of hell and fucking fight for what you want?
For sure. And also, like, I think, as you know, from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game and the mixed martial arts game, like, yes, there's a certain amount of skill that needs to be executed and like how your body moves and all that stuff, but understanding takes a long time. Like, I've been doing jiu-jitsu 21 years, and I feel like now, like, as far as truly understanding this, like, the fundamentals and exactly how jiu-jitsu works, now I feel like I'm truly starting to get down to the juicy stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It's like 21 years, man. Like, so yeah, it's a never-ending journey, and everyone's journey is different. And I think we need to remind ourselves of that like, there isn't just a proven recipe too. Like, everyone's recipe is different.
We just we get so wrapped up in being right these days.
Yeah,
we get
right.
Like, this is like you turn on the news and it's like, no, well, that's fake news and this is right news, and what I mean? Like, I don't care what news channel you watch, and everything's like, this is how to do it. You get on YouTube and this is how to do it. But how to do it is to pick something, go through a process, and stick with the process. That's the only way.
Yeah, no, and you just nailed it. I think it does really come down to that belief. Like, what do you believe is that key? And that's what it is. Like, that's where I think faith really comes from. When you say you have faith, you're really believing in yourself at the end of the day. Yeah, like that's. I used to hate that word, faith. But then I don't know. I'm personally not religious. I don't know where you stand. But like I decided to, like, all these like religious based words, like, they're great words. God, blessed, faith. They're great words, but they don't just belong to like a particular religious dogma. They're all of ours. That's what I believe. I'm in the same boat. I grew up religious, but I don't think, again, with the same thing, that there is one path to it. So therefore, there is no, in my opinion, one religion that will really do it. And I think you could see that with everyone. We see people that are very religious people. And, some of the things that are happening with the Catholic Church, with the Catholic priests and all these other people that, now are actually chasing money in the name of God and all this stuff. So that isn't the answer. At the end of the day, it is the individual. It's your individual morals that guide you, not some book that tells you what to do, because that's it's too fixed, and people don't follow that to the T. I used to waste
a lot of time like thinking about like where all this came from, and now I just don't care.
Right.
Like I just don't care. I wake up in the morning and I talk to God every day. Like what that is, don't even really care.
Sure.
Don't even care. Don't even care about like any there's whatever. I just talk to God for 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes a day. I say thanks, and then I debab, and then I know that like whatever's hard is good for me.
Yep.
Is good for me, and like come on, let's keep doing it. Like it's I think and it just the whole religious dogma thing goes back to somebody being right,
Yep.
And this is just nobody has to be right.
100%, man. And everyone, what is right? Like, what is right? What is the path? You tell me a good path, and I'll tell you some bad things that happen on that path. So what does that even mean? Like, I think we should be guided by our perspectives, and it's our own faith. It's our own belief. I say this all the time, but chaos is inevitably going to find us. But how do you center yourself? How do you have your own perspectives and beliefs that allow you to deal with anything, to ride that wave, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how fast, no matter how slow, to be able to deal with anything in your life? That is more powerful than anything else.
Fuck you, man. I say the same thing. I say I believe in hell, and it's coming for us, but it's coming for us when we're alive. It's not coming after we die. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it is. I just don't fucking know. But I know it comes during this life if you live long enough. And how do you deal? How do you deal with hell?
Yep.
How do you deal with hell? And hopefully you can do that with grace.
Yep.
So
100%.
It's an amazing experience we get to have, and to understand and to ride through.
I agree, dude.
Fuck yeah, man. So now you are commentating for the UFC, right? You opened up. You have your own school. What's your school called again?
It's Meraki Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I opened up with business partner Jason Hunt, who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and a judo black belt. Okay. And we opened it up a little over a year ago. So
how's that going?
It's going awesome, man. We're super excited. We built such a great community, and that's kind of the coolest part of it is we built a community of people that are really trying to evolve and change their life. Like every single person's on the same mission, and every single person has that same like let's get after it attitude. And you could just see it, man, just the vibe and everything in the gym. It's a credit to the people that are in it, and we're lucky to have some great students, and it's been a really fun ride, man. And again, like kind of what you were talking about, if you have the ability to change just one person's life, like, you're doing something good. You're spreading out light. You're spreading out just a good energy. And I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like it's the realest and truest thing that I'm doing in my life.
It's man. For me, it's what got me out of hell. I was deep in it, with like just anxiety, mostly, and I was so stuck, and with nothing wrong, actually, right? Like my life was great, like great kids, great house, great businesses, great family, great wife, great everything, right? Like but I was in the fucking pits of hell. And what got me out was like finding a why, and then like which was my kids,
Yeah.
And then being like, all right, I got to show them how to do this. I got to show them how to be an adult. And like my path is jiu-jitsu, So going to the school and just teaching the best class that I could, and
love it.
And just being with my students, like that got me out of hell.
I love it, man. I mean, that's where you find out who you are. And people, I think there's such this misconception about like the mental hurdles also that we experience in our life, where someone's like, oh, like he's going through struggle, like there must be something wrong with him. It's like, or her or whatever it is. It's like, no, that's the kind of stuff that actually brings you to your goal. And I think we confuse that stuff. It's just a part of the process, and you got to trust your process. You got to trust your journey, and hope that it guides you into that right direction. And I think that's the good stuff. Like when that stuff happens, it does guide you. It points you in the right direction of what's important and who you truly are as an individual. And, yeah, I think we need those things in our life. If we're listening, if we're actually paying attention, it's going to help us and it's going to guide us in the right direction.
Yeah, you have to do the work. Like there's work to be done.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Like there's work to be done here. It's not. It's going to tell you what to do. You might not like it. You know, you might not like what you have to go do, but it's going to show you the path, that struggle. You know, and you are going to have to follow it. You know, and a lot of people, like with the whole mental health thing, they treat it sometimes like and I don't want to knock this, because I do take an antidepressant, you know, that help the noise quiet down when it was like fire, like fucking, like, you know, I needed it to be quieter, you know. But people think that pill is going to do the work. It does not. It does not. All it does is it makes it a touch quieter for you. Just a touch, so that you can grasp something and go, okay, now I have work to do. If you don't do the work, you can take all the pills you want in the world. You're going to sit there and go from pill to pill and be wrapped in the pharmaceutical world for the rest of your life, you know? But you have work to do when you hear that noise.
Yeah, and people, you know, it's way easier for us to use excuses like, oh, that guy's just talented, that's why he works, got it to work, or I'll just take this pill and everything's going to be great. It's like, no, man, you know, like and that's what I think anxiety is, you know, and we've all experienced it in varying levels. It's knowing that you've swept stuff under the rug and you got a big pile under there you got to take care of. Yep. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh man, I got to go under the rug again. Dang, I got to clean that.
Yep. And no one likes to. You know,
no one likes to.
It's so nice because you can just put on this pretty face, right? Like you can, and for me, you know, and like you brought it up with your school, man. For me, jiu-jitsu is what does it for me, right? Because like when you get on the mat, like I call it, you wake up and you're not allowed to put makeup on, right? Like how you look today is how you look, and there's like that, and that's what the mat doesn't lie to us, right? Like you get on the mat, and some days you're a killer, and some days you get killed.
Yep.
You know, and it doesn't, like, there's no excuse to be said for it. Like you can say everything. Oh, I was sick last night. Look, you got a 9-month-old. You were up for the last 3 nights because she was blah, 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 whatever. Who cares?
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
The mat told the truth today. So deal with it.
Exactly, dude.
You know,
I 100% with you.
So deal with it. You don't get to put on makeup. You don't get to make excuses. And when you deal with it, then you can like learn how to deal with like the rest of your life so much easier.
Yep.
You know, that's why I have some rules for my kids. And rule number 1, we have 6 rules. Rule number 1 is you have to do jiu-jitsu, and that's why you have to do jiu-jitsu, because it makes life. It just makes life easier. They're gonna. I mean, yeah, sure. It's gonna come with these other things like confidence, which is great, and self-defense, and yada yada. But it makes life easier because they're doing something extremely hard. And when we do extremely hard stuff, you do better. I
agree. Couldn't agree more.
So you know, it's just. I don't know, man. I'm stoked how you said like just the community is great with your school, because like competitors and world champions and yada yada, that comes with great community. You know?
Yeah, and I think so. That's the thing. Like, you know, I think at first, like when I was starting, I was like, oh man, I want to create some killers and I create champions and blah blah. Don't get me wrong, I still want to do that.
Of course,
absolutely, but. I think the community, that's the stuff that changes. At the end of the day, that's the stuff that spreads out and makes the world a better place. Like, honestly, and again, if you just do one person, it takes one person to change the world. But if you change that one and that person gets to reach another 5 and those 5 change someone else, you know, it spreads out the love, man. And to me, everyone just has that same goal. And if it's that kind, there's a reason why like military like works, like why they all get them on the same page. Like, yeah, some of the things might be a little bit harsh or whatever, but like they all get the same mindset and they're all working towards the same goal. They will die for that other person, literally. So like that's the kind of community you kind of want to build, and how you structure it is up to you. But as long as everyone's on the same page and everyone's doing that same thing, like it's just a good place to be in, man. So I've been really excited, man. And it's funny because when I got into this game, I didn't want to be a fighter originally. I really didn't. And I think that everything that I went through in my life is to make me the best teacher I can. Like I always thought I was going to open up a school and be a teacher. I ended up going the fighting route, just like trying it out. But it's all led me back to this point where I'm now. Like all the work that I put in as a fighter, maybe I didn't achieve that belt that I wanted, but I have an understanding of myself and I have an understanding of the different martial arts, of all the good things I did and all the bad things I did and how I needed to change. And it's that experience that I could pass on to people to help them achieve hopefully more than I achieved. And that's the good stuff. Then I feel like, I did win a belt. Anytime I see someone pull off a move that I showed them to, that's my championship to me. Like, honestly, I couldn't say that with like more passion. Like it really is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's like,
it's sweet, man. We have such a similar experience. Yeah. I mean, like almost to a T. Cause I didn't ever I did probably like you martial arts my whole fucking life. And, And I was like, I'm going to teach them. At the time it was karate. I'm going to have karate school and yada, yada. But then we found out that karate's kind of bullshit, but whatever.
Right.
And it turned into
something. It was a part of the process.
Yeah, it was part of the process. Exactly.
Yeah.
Those karate guys got me into jiu-jitsu. So fuck yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, man, like, and even for me, I'm competing again. Like I'm doing like the Fight to Win Pros and
that's awesome.
And I am competing better now than I ever have in my entire life.
I believe it.
Because I have students, because I have children that I have to like show what fear looks like and then to just march through it. And then I have students that I'm like, I'm not even competing for me anymore. I'm like competing for my kids and these kids students that I have. And I'm like, all right, I got to make sure that I know and staying current in the game, that I am pushing forward, and kind of walking the walk with them a little, even, and I'm like, damn, this is like, I get nervous and I'm like, fuck it. I don't even like, whatever. Like this is fun. I get to do this for somebody else and show them what it is. I donate all the money, I don't keep a dime of any of the money. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's just go have fun. And man, I have all of the pressure released from me. It's just stupid.
It's awesome, dude. I believe it. Again, all those experiences. I mean, again, it's a complete talk about your making things hard to make things easier. I mean, going and fighting in the UFC against the most elite athletes like all over the world, not just from the United States, like all over the world, guys that are really trained to hurt you, dealing with that aspect and then going back to jiu-jitsu, you're like, oh, okay, I got this. I can do this. It's not so scary. It's not so scary.
And for me, like I sometimes I catch myself thinking like, man, I wish I had this back then. But I have to be like, wait a minute, Eliot, you probably wouldn't have this if you didn't have that, how you get there. It's just what you said. Like for me, it took me not being a champion, right? Just like for you, right? You're not being a champion to learn the lesson. Like, look, TJ Dillashaw learned it beforehand. And now his road was shorter to that mentality.
Yep.
But we can't sit here and cry and complain about it.
For sure.
We are where we are, and thank God and thank the universe that we are here, is how I like to think about it, especially when I catch myself being like, God damn it, because
you got to be grateful, man.
Yeah,
got to be grateful. It's huge.
For sure, man. Well, Kenny, man, thanks for coming on, man. This has been great. I'm glad we reconnected, man. Thanks for doing this.
100%, man. Anytime. Always a pleasure talking to you, dude.
Sounds good, man. Tell people where they can reach you about your school and then your social media personally and all that.
For sure. Thank you so much, man. You can reach me at Kenny Florian on Twitter and Instagram. Let's see, I will, you can stop by my school either in Boston at Florian Martial Arts Center, in Brookline, Massachusetts, or in Santa Monica, California at Meraki Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's MERAKI. Everyone's welcome. And I appreciate it again, my man. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny. I'll hit you up here in a second so you can send me your address and I'll send you a DBAB t-shirt.
Right on, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks, Kenny. Have a great day, man.
You as well.
Bye. right, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Gospel of Fire. Check me out on my website, eliotmarshall.com, where you can stay up to date on everything that is Gospel of Fire, Eliot Marshall related, get DBAB t-shirts and whatnot. Also, my Patreon page, if you're liking the podcast and would like to support it, patreon.com/The Gospel of Fire. I'd much appreciate it. And my social media, as always, at FireMarshall205 on Instagram and Twitter, Eliot Marshall on Facebook, and Eliot Fire Marshall for a Facebook fan page. I appreciate everything. And remember, guys, the impediment of action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let's do hard shit.